This is Robert with Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division. Glad to bring you the Merchandiser Minute for Thursday, July the 2nd, 2020. At the end of an amazing week from a price action perspective, it's been a long time since in the corn, bean, and soybean futures markets have we seen this kind of activity that we've seen this week. Really all stemming from the managed money speculators' position and the planted acre and quarterly stocks report. Let's take a look at how the futures did this week in Chicago, a short week around Independence Day holiday. September corn closed up 23 cents a bushel for the week at $3.43 a bushel. August soybeans closed up 32 cents from the open on Sunday night for the week. That closing price was $8.91 a bushel. And September wheat was up 17 cents a bushel from the open on Sunday night to close at $4.92. You know, it's been an amazing ride this week. We had farmers who last week and this week were pricing out of July futures contracts or rolling, either pricing out of or rolling into the September. We just saw substantial rains last week across the Corn Belt that caused the speculator, especially in regard to corn, to build the second largest short position in history in corn futures as those rains came. And then to see those speculators, we're reminded again this week to see those speculators buy back those contracts they'd sold, and you can really see how fast the futures markets can move. Coming into the week, speaking of that, the Commitment of Traders report showed the corn speculator short 277,000 futures contracts. The managed money speculator was short about 48,000 wheat contracts and long about 44,000 bean contracts. So it's going to be very important to see that Commitment of Traders report in reference to this week as well as in reference to next week, to see if that managed money speculator has gotten back to neutral in regards to corn and how big of a long position they're building in beans and maybe even in wheat. When we look at the crop progress numbers, ever important this time of year, Virginia corn 67% rated good to excellent. Virginia beans, a beautiful 81% rated good to excellent. I know y'all are really thankful for that, as hard as you've been working on them, and a lot of work done this week planting double crop beans. When we look on the U.S. side, U.S. corn came in at 73% rated good to excellent, up 1 point for the week, and soybeans at 71% good to excellent in the United States. That's also up 1 point for the week, and those numbers are both above average. Let's take a quick look at the numbers that we got. You know, we wait all year for June the 30th, end of the month, end of the quarter, and we get rid of question marks. We know speculators and farmers, especially you the farmers, we do not like question marks. We like getting them erased, and we got them erased. Back during March, the intentions report said American farmers were going to plant 97 million acres of corn. That was going to be near a record if it happened. We know the crop went in the ground fast. What we have precedent for is when the crop gets planted fast, y'all plant more acres. But like everything in 2020, it's unprecedented. We saw the number come in this week at 92 million acres as the official number of corn acres in the United States. That's minus 5 million acres from March, and I don't think that big of a cut has happened before. Y'all can back me up on that. Look it up. I'm not sure that we've seen a 5 million acre cut from the March intentions report to the June planted acre report before. So obviously that was a very bullish number. It fed the bull, as the old traders say, and we got that rally on corn futures this week that we needed. When we look at beans, y'all had said 83.5 million was the intended number. It turned out 83.8, so right within expectations. It was one of the biggest surprises for me and many of you as well in the report when we saw the 5 million acre reduction on corn. We thought we'd see beans go up or cotton or wheat, but we didn't see those acreages go up. So those acres just disappeared, at least for the time being. And as one farmer told me today, it looks like the USDA is using that 5 million acre number as a buffer, whether they're working on correcting numbers from last year or they're trying to make sure they got the number right for this year. When we look at specific acres, some Virginia-centric numbers, y'all know we love our Commonwealth. We love the agriculture community here, and we take a look at that Virginia corn acres. 520,000. Virginia soybean acres came in at 570,000 acres. The other information we got this week, planted acres as well as quarterly stocks, what was in the bin on June the 1st. No surprise there for wheat, 1 billion bushels in the bin. It came in just above the trade expectation, but no real surprise there. We know our export program has not been where we wanted it to be in that area. We got to work harder on the back half of this year to get that done. Soybeans came in at 1.3 billion bushels in the bin as of June the 1st. That was within the range of expectation. And that number, coupled with the as expected acre number, really caused that soybean speculator who was already slightly long beans want to add to their length this week. We'll see if the weather will keep them in that category. And finally, with corn, the one surprise in the quarterly stocks report to some was a larger than expected quarterly stocks number above 5 billion bushels, 5.2 billion. That definitely was bearish corn, just like the planted acre number was bullish. A little bit more corn than we thought in the bin, but maybe we shouldn't be so surprised about that with the loss of demand we've seen from the feed sector and the ethanol sector since COVID. So next week, y'all know better than me. It's July is all about weather. Now that we got these question marks out of the way, we're going to be watching the weather like a hawk. If it rains in the Corn Belt, we know that's going to be negative to price. If it doesn't, we know that's going to be positive to price. It's that simple. Coupled with that, we're looking hard for flash sales announcements. We're going to be watching the weekly export sales report to see if we can get more export sales on the books, to see if we can get our domestic demand up from the feed sector and the ethanol sector up. And remember, we're always on the lookout for more talks about a Phase 2 deal, honoring a Phase 1 deal. And remember, this week we also saw the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement go into effect. So lots to talk about. Good job in the wheat field this week. I know it's been tough and a struggle for many of you. You're doing great and encouraging us. Give us a call if we can help you. This is Robert at Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division.